Hello, YouTube. All right, let's go live on Instagram. Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. Let's get straight into it. We're going to be talking about today information versus integration. I actually spoke about this a little bit on my Instagram stories last night, but something that I see that a lot of high achievers actually struggle with is actually integrating and implementing everything they're learning. So I want you to, when I'm speaking about this, I want you just to become very consciously aware of your actions and your processes and where you're at in life. So if you're watching this, you're high achieving, you're ambitious, you have dreams, you have desires, you have things that you want to achieve, right? That's why you're watching this. But maybe you feel that no matter how much effort you put into trying to progress, trying to make a change, this could be in your money, it could be in your business, your career, your relationships, health and wellness, no matter how much you feel like you are putting in to all of this, you feel like you're forever climbing the summit. And what I see is that a lot of high achievers actually know a lot, right? You guys are very, very smart. You know a lot. You understand a lot. You're very aware of what's happening. Or maybe you can look at your business or you can look at your relationships and say, okay, this is exactly where I'm at and this is what needs to change. And that is kind of where it stops. And this is where I see a lot of high achievers don't actually progress any further. You get a fleeting dopamine hit because you're speaking about it, you're learning more stuff, you're consuming knowledge, and you're taking in all of that knowledge, and you feel really good. Or maybe you're saying, like, to your friends or your family, I'm going to make these changes, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be doing that. And then it's been a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and nothing has really changed. You haven't seen any more progress, your income is kept the same, you haven't attracted any new clients, you feel like you've been working for a promotion forever, your health goals are just, you're going in cycles. And this is because we get such a dopamine hit. We actually get a chemical release and we get addicted to that chemical release when we say we're going to do something, when we learn something, when we're consuming knowledge. But we kind of stop there because we get addicted to the chemical release where that kind of feels like we are doing something. And so if we are having a chemical release, this dopamine hit where we feel like we're doing something, the brain is already going to go, well, we've done something. And then you don't actually integrate, you don't actually implement, you just have more, you've consumed more knowledge, you have spoken about your ideas, your business ideas, your career ideas, your life ambition with someone, and you're getting really, really excited in your body, but nothing has been actioned from there. But you get addicted to the feeling, the dopamine hit of consuming more knowledge, of speaking about your ambition. This is why ambition for high achievers, having big dreams, desires, big goals means absolutely nothing if you have no idea how to implement, integrate, and also feel safe within your nervous system and your body to be more, to receive more. And I actually wrote something on my story last night. You know, when you have skin in the game, when you actually invest in yourself, and I don't necessarily mean it just has to be monetary, but when you invest time and energy into yourself to make these changes that you were learning about, that you were speaking about, something starts to happen in your body, in your nervous system, which kind of goes, hey, we're freaking out a bit. Now, the way that I see the nervous system, a lot of people, the nervous system is your comfort zone, right? And what a lot of people say about your comfort zone is you need to step out of your comfort zone. Since 2018 on the podcast, the Jessica Pinili podcast, what I have been saying is you actually need to expand your comfort zone. And I'll give you an analogy. So your comfort zone is your nervous system. Imagine your nervous system is like a balloon. When you're blowing up a balloon, what starts to happen? You start to expand, 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 and you get to a point in time when you're blowing up this balloon where you start to get nervous because you don't want it to pop in your face, and you start to slow down the breath into the balloon and you think, oh, okay, I don't want to go any further. That is what happens to your nervous system when you were trying to change, right? And so if we go into what I'm saying about consuming information, maybe you're learning heaps, maybe you're reading new books, maybe you have invested in a masterclass, maybe you're speaking about it to your partner or your friends, and you're like, I'm going to quit my job and I've got this great business idea and I'm going to do this and this. And, I invested in a masterclass and every evening I learn more and I do the modules. So what's actually happening is your nervous system, your comfort zone is expand, expand, expand. But to actually make that change, if we're running with this example of, quitting your job and starting this business, just as an example, what actually happens in your nervous system is we get to like blowing up a balloon, and it feels like, oh, this is too uncomfortable. If we keep blowing up this balloon, it's going to pop in our face and it's going to hurt. So what we start to do, expand, and what feels like we've got momentum and we're going, and then it gets too much in our body, in our mind, subconsciously, and we start to constrict. And if it was a balloon, we start to let out a bit more air. Oh, okay, I feel comfortable now. I feel like I can tie up this balloon. It's not going to pop in my face. Onto the next, and see how this becomes a cycle that we continue to go through, because we get to the point where it's like, yeah, momentum. This is why so many high achievers, when I have women work with me, one of the biggest issues is they say, I get so much momentum and then all of a sudden I lose it, and I have no idea why. This is one of the biggest reasons why, because you're expanding your nervous system, like the balloon analogy. And then the moment you are actually about to make a change, subconsciously, you are actually viewing that change as unsafe. If we go back to caveman times, the way that our nervous system reacts to something that's unsafe is as if a tiger or a lion is about to chase us. So imagine if you're going to quit your job and start a business. Your nervous system, your DNA is rooted in old caveman times where it believes a tiger's about to chase you. Two very different things. This can be very common in the corporate world. When you get a email that makes you a little bit nervous, your nervous system quite literally goes, oh my god, a tiger's chasing me, even though consciously it's like, no, I just got an email. See how that is the reason why your nervous system starts to constrict. And so going back to information versus integration and implementation. So when you are trying to make a change, what we need to do when we're integrating and implementing, we actually need to teach our body and our mind, our subconscious. Number one, we need to understand the beliefs that have gotten us to where we currently are. Like that point where we start to constrict, what are these subconscious beliefs about success? What are, see my hair sticking up, humidity. What are the actual like rooted beliefs about making this change? Again, if we go back to the example, what are the deep subconscious beliefs I have about quitting my job and starting a business, right? And that's what starts to constrict. And then our nervous system, our comfort zone, doesn't feel safe to bring in more and welcome more. And this is why, right? If we look at money, for example, because this is a big one for everyone. Sometimes, if not all of the time, we can have a monetary goal and it can feel like we're working towards it forever. It is because you have a financial thermostat. So that is what your body, your nervous system actually feels safe in holding if we just go by month to month, that is what your body and nervous system feels safe holding. So if you go over, let's say you feel safe in your business holding $10,000 a month. If you make $11,000 and you aren't getting to number one, and this is the woman mastery methodology, right? Which is 3 phases: subconscious reprogramming, identity shifting, which, by the way, today we start identity evolution. We focus all on phase 2. So the way you perceive yourself, the way you perceive the world, and how you can shift your identity to actually be in alignment with what you desire in life. So that's phase 2. And I've got a whole program starting today around that. And then phase 3 is regulating to a new capacity. So when we are welcoming new change, we actually have to go through these phases to solidify it and to make it sustainable and maintainable. That's the biggest thing with change. I have a lot of women who come and work with me and they say, maybe they've invested in another coach before or done a different masterclass or learned. And they say, yeah, but I hit 3 months and like it's not maintainable, or I'm scared that if I make X amount of money, I'm not going to be able to maintain it. But going back to the example, if you're feeling safe and good in your body about making $10,000 a month, if you don't do the reprogramming, the identity shifting and the regulating to a new capacity and feel safe, if you make 11 grand, 12 grand, 13, 40, it doesn't matter how much, you will seek out something to destroy that and bring you back down to your thermostat, your neutral thermostat, because $11,000 is a perceived threat. So you will attract an unexpected bill, or maybe you will actually get an unexpected chargeback or refund from one of your clients, whatever it may be. Or, all of a sudden someone messages you, like your family messages and say, hey, remember you owe me $1,000, like I want that back now, right? And all of those are indications of subconscious reasons you don't feel safe. But on the other hand, because you have the thermostat, where you, if it's $10,000, if you drop beneath that, let's say, it's 3 days before the end of the month and you drop beneath that to $8,000, your nervous system is like, no, 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 our neutral point is 10K. What are we doing? How are we attracting $2,000? Because our normal is $10,000. Now, I share the money example because it's such a prevalent one. I see this with all of the business owners that I work with. I see this with career women I work with as well. But I have a client, she was stuck at $5,000 months. I just did a post about this yesterday. So go and read the post after this live on my grid. She was stuck at $5,000 months. And this is one of the things, is because she was programmed to only feel safe there, because her body, her nervous system perceived anything above that, not only money, making more money, but the person she had to become, her body and nervous system perceived that as a threat, perceived it as dangerous. Going back to what I said, caveman times, even though consciously we're like, no, like I want more money and I want to be that person, our body goes, no, a tiger's about to chase you. So of course we're going to do anything to sabotage that. So we worked on that, and she in October hit a 20K cash month. Like I said, go read the post. It was just because I give examples exactly what we did. But it's incredible what happens when you actually, and this is the woman mastery methodology, when you master yourself, when you understand what am I actually doing to raise my capacity to be and receive more. And, if you're really resonating with this, I highly recommend, there's a couple of hours left to get inside, but Identity Evolution, we start tonight, our first group call. You can get the replays if you can't come to the first call, but we go through how to actually use your identity to your advantage. Because phase 2 of the woman mastery methodology, this is a big part. The way you see yourself will determine everything that is happening. So we can get to the root of your subconscious and we can do nervous system work. But if you see yourself as someone who earns only this amount of money, or is shy, or who's not confident, or someone who can't go after what you want, or can't have business meetings, that is the identity that you are now living by. And that's for the next 4 weeks in Identity Evolution. I'm so freaking excited to go through this. But let's kind of like bring this all together. You can consume as much information as you want. You can talk about your dreams and desires as much as you want. You can also say, oh, I know I'm super aware. I think that sometimes people like to just say that they're aware and be like, I know that I'm sabotaging, or I know that I'm doing this, or I know this is why I don't feel safe. There are 2 types of awareness, and this is what I teach my clients. So I'm going to teach you now. Self-awareness is saying something like, I know this is why I do this, or like, I'm aware I watched my parents have a bad relationship with money, or bad relationships with people. That's self-awareness. That doesn't help you. What does help you is having conscious awareness. And this is what I teach my clients through my methodology is, okay, so you're aware that this is your relationship with money, and you understand the root, the subconscious root. You also understand the identity associated with it, and you understand when your nervous system starts to constrict. When you are able to do that, that is when you start to master yourself. That is when you start to make a change. Is it quick in a day? Absolutely not. But those are the things you need to look out for. That is conscious awareness. You can be the most self-aware person in the world, but nothing changes. And this is what happens. And I think that the personal development world has given so much emphasis on becoming self-aware. Self-awareness doesn't teach you anything. What it teaches you is just more information and being aware of who you are now. We need to consciously be aware of what isn't working and how we can change that and how we can self-reflect. And so what I do in my containers, and this is how I mentor the women that work with me, is yes, you will learn new things, but it's more about how can we integrate? How can we implement? How can we actually make the shift? Right? Because that's the biggest thing. That's how you're going to see the results. That's how you're going to see where you actually want to be in life. Think big. What are your ambitions? Is it to make 10K per month in your business? Is it to make 50K per month? Is it to get that promotion at your job? I also work with career women. Is it to be able to attract your dream relationship, or to find deeper connections with friendships? Is it being able to trust yourself? That's the foundation of a lot of the work that I do. If you don't trust yourself, you can't back yourself. And if you can't back yourself, what do you have? So I want you to walk away from this, and instead of consuming more or talking about or journaling about all the goals you want to hit and all the things you want to do, especially as we're coming towards the end of the year, we're coming into a brand new year. I want you just to get super honest. What is it you really want? And then the first steps, right? If I'm giving you the methodology and if you want to go in deeper, come into identity evolution, you can send me a message, you can chat to see if it's for you. Or I do have spots open for one-on-one coaching as well. So one-on-one intensive, 6 to 12 months, or I actually have a short-term 4 week, which is called the Visionary 2025 edition. I'm starting with some new clients this week, and it's incredible this 4 weeks, because what we actually do is we plan out your entire 2025. We look at what's actually holding you back, how we are going to move the needle, and then we have a check-in in February to make sure everything that we've done is solidified. But what I want you to work away and do is look at what are my desires? Just pick one desire. What's the big desire? Think big, right? 10x that. Then I want you to ask yourself, at the root, subconsciously, what do I truly believe, right? So you may want to make $10,000 in a month, and you may go, yep, I know that I am destined for that. But at the root, what do you believe? Do you believe that money is the root of all evil? Do you believe that rich people are greedy? Do you believe that $10,000 is not possible for someone like you? Then I want you to identify like who you identify as. How do you perceive yourself right now? Do you actually perceive yourself as someone who is making $10,000 a month, or do you perceive yourself as someone who is always in lack, who is always struggling, who finds it really, really difficult to pay bills? And then I want you to ask yourself, what's the state of your nervous system? Are you consistently in survival mode? Are you finding safety? Like, what are you actually doing to with your nervous system? And that is the starting point of actually integrating the information that you already have and being able to make a change. The work that I do is sustainable, maintainable, but it's about actually shifting and changing, right? There's a lot of coaches now out there that will say stuff like, just believe you're the one and you can do this, and like, just believe that you are the powerful one. Like, all of that, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. It gives you a quick dopamine hit and maybe it makes you feel really, really good inside. But the work I do, it can be very, very confronting. But it's something that, I wrote it on my story last night. This has been the biggest year for my clients. Biggest year. I not only have I seen with clients making so much more money, but relationships. I've had clients that have gone from anxious attachment style that they're now secure attachment. I have clients that have attracted nothing to do with romantic relationships, but their dream friendships. They have trust in themselves. They are getting promotions. They are making decisions. They're taking opportunities. They're having business meetings. It's just, I get very, very emotional about it. And last night I had a flight, so I was thinking about it in the a lounge that I was in, and I was just like, it's actually incredible what happens when you bet on yourself. It's incredible what happens when you build your self trust and you build a foundation. And the work that I present and mentor with all of my clients is work that in 5, 10, 20 years time you can implement. I have very long-term clients who come into my Reclaim mentorship, which is minimum 6 months. And, I had one of my clients who worked with me. She stopped working with me last year, but she was with me for 3 years. And she messaged me and she said, she was telling me a few different concepts we worked on. And she said, Jazz, I'm still using it to this very day. And this is going to be for life. And so, what I open you up to experiencing, and this is why I'm sharing, partly what I teach, is it is very, very possible to make changes. It is very, very possible to make sustainable changes. We're all about the long term vision, not dopamine hits, not the instant gratification. We're all about the long term vision and what we are doing for ourselves to create that. So, as we are making our way towards the end of the year, I just want you to think about that. I want you to start to question really where you're at. What is your long term vision? What do you want to create? What do you perceive that 2025 is going to be at? And if you're watching this in like 2 years' time, what do you perceive, 2028 is going to be like? And think big. 10x it. I have clients, they tell me, I had one of my clients, my business client, she told me a revenue goal for next year. And I said to her, no, it's like where you're at right now. that is you constricting yourself, right? That is you constricting yourself. So when you tap into what you just truly desire, 10x it. What is teetering on that's definitely possible if I'm doing the aligned action, energetics, strategy. But what also scares the fuck out of me? That's where you want to be. That's exactly how you want to work. Too many high achievers have big goals here, but they set they set safe goals. So they have big desires that are up here, huge, great. But then every year they set safe goals that sit here. Safe goals, you know you can hit them. You know it's easy. It's going to be an easy tick off the list. It's going to be a dopamine hit. But then you're going to wonder why your big desire up here feels like it's so far away and you're forever climbing the summit. So I hope this has given you something to think about, something to consider. Like I said, there's a couple of one-on-one options you can always discuss with me. There's things on my story on YouTube, show notes below. But I highly recommend coming into Identity Evolution if you are watching this live. We have the first call tonight. If you can't make it, that's fine. You can submit questions and you can get the replay. But we will be diving deep into this. In fact, this week's topic is identity shifting and neutralizing emotions. If you are highly emotionally charged person, you get triggered easily or you take things personally, you also feel that it's hard for you, like you know who you are right now, but you're like, how do I even see myself as someone different? How do I what's the first part? That's what we're covering in week 1. And yeah, I was doing up all of the training and the workshopping. And yeah, if you're a highly triggered person, emotionally charged person, you take things personally, you feel like you've been at this work for a while and you're not trusting yourself as much as you could, or you feel like you can't step into the confident you, I highly recommend come into this container. I'm super excited about it. And I'm proud of this week on training. I finished it this morning, but I'm going to leave you now. Any questions, please just slide into my DMs. You can obviously tell I love to have a chat, and yeah, we can see what the best fit is for you. But everything that I've said in today's live, take it, go and implement it. I don't say these things for fun. I say them because they work if you go away and do them. Anyway, I appreciate all of you, YouTube and Instagram, that have come here live, and I will speak to you soon. Bye. Bye.